Hello, hello, it's time for fishing, friends. Hello, hello, this is Fishing Friends with Danny and Gina. I'm Danny, and I don't think we're going to get much of Gina tonight. She got invited over to a friend's house, and so that's what she's going to be doing. She said she might join us a little bit here and there, so we shall see. But looks like it's just me streaming on both of our channels, which is kind of interesting. Because, yeah, I'm definitely on her channel right now, too, as you guys are tuning in. I see you all chatting on Gina's side. Gina has friends besides us? Yeah, I know, right? Come on. But let's see. We got Craig's Catfish Cave here. We got Bunny Viper Aquatics here. Coro Works is here. Sketty Nona is here. Toski is here. Oh, man. And Jeff Kane coming in, too. Yeah. What a loser. Having friends. Psh. Oh, man. Yeah, friends in real life. Yeah. We all are just virtual friends. Yeah. But yes, exactly. You guys are the cool friends. Uh, but I mean, hey, I'm not sure, the whole thing, but sometimes you don't always get the opportunity to hang out with people in real life, and so it's always good to take advantage of that opportunity. Patrick Hardy, what's up, Patrick? Good to see you. Um, I like to, go out for karaoke and stuff all the time, and I'm always trying to get people to come out and do karaoke with me because that's just what I like to do. Um, my house is too much of a mess most of the time, and to invite anybody over, and yeah, and then my house is like too small to invite like my family over. My family is just like huge. I have three older sisters and a younger brother, and then all three of my older sisters have four kids. So, 12 nieces and nephews. That's a lot of people, and I don't have a very big house. Fish Fan Link is here. What's up, Fish Fan Link? So, yep, guys, don't forget to, smash that like button. Oh, Friggy Fish Lady, can't miss you. Hey, what's up, what's up? Don't forget to smash that like button and, head over to both channels and smash the like button and make sure you're subscribed to myself and Gina. We're trying really hard to get Gina up to 500 subscribers before the Keystone Clash. Not sure how close we're gonna get, but we're trying. And I'm actually getting pretty close to 600 subscribers. I was looking at that. I haven't been posting any sort of like regular content or anything like that. I've just been doing my live streams most of the time and putting out a video whenever I can. I was trying really hardcore to put a lot of time into my YouTube channel when I was first starting and all that, and I wasn't really getting the payoff that I was kind of hoping to get, and then I ended up changing jobs and life got really busy and all that too. So I just don't have time to make the videos like I used to, but I do like to do my Saturday night live streams, and it's great to have Gina as a co-host. So I hope she does join us at some point tonight, but if she doesn't, it's good. Are tangerine tiger shrimps okay in hard water like cherry shrimps? Um, My understanding is tangerine tiger shrimps are the caradina, not the neocaradina, right? So they would like softer water. I mean, no matter what, you just want to, you know, with shrimp especially, you just want to like kind of drip acclimate them, slowly acclimate them and stuff, and they should be fine most of the time. I mean, I believe I've told everybody that I finally got my car back. I believe I talked about that last week. It's been so nice to have my car back now. I'm pretty much finally used to driving my car again. I got so used to driving my brother's truck and my truck at work that I just got used to sitting up real high, and my car is like really small and sits super low to where it's like I kind of feel like I'm basically just like sitting on the road, and yeah, I've kind of gotten used to driving it again. I'm gonna need some new tires here soon, especially my front driver's side tires, like really low on air. Well, not air. I mean, the rubber's worn down pretty good. It's starting to smooth out a lot. It still has like the center treads like going this way, but any of the treads that are like going uh, perpendicular to the road are pretty much gone. So, yeah. Nathan Hovey, hello, my fishy friends. Just stopping in real quick, but I'll be back in 10 minutes or so. All right, cool, cool. Yeah, go head over to Danny's channel. However you guys want to do it, doesn't really matter. Watch on both sides. We try and even it out, you know. Don't want to make it, you know. I don't want to take the viewers away from Gina. That was kind of the point of streaming on both channels, was to actually, you know, boost it for the both of us, not like take away from either of us. I found two more core fries, so they get more and more. Unfortunately, I don't think I'll get much more. Those things are gone already. Okay. It's cool you're getting some Cory fry in there. I haven't noticed any Cory fry in this tank at all. There's all the rocks and stuff going in the background, and so there's lots of places for the Corys to go back there and lay eggs, but I haven't like noticed anything at all. So if anything, I don't know. I'm probably not getting any. I wasn't subscribed to Danny's. Can't chat there for 10 minutes. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. But I thought you were subscribed to me before. Sometimes YouTube unsubscribes people and stuff like that. Like I know I've seen you in my live streams before, so maybe you just weren't subscribed before when you were watching my live streams or something, but I don't know. You got back into upgrading electric guitars, etc. Uh I'm not actually spending any money on anything like that, no, but I have been watching lots of different like guitar and bass sort of videos and stuff recently. But they always kind of filter in my like YouTube uh algorithm and stuff like that. Speaking of music and all that stuff, I'm not sure how many of you have heard of a band called In Flames. They are kind of one of my favorite bands. They have had kind of they've had a few different eras of their like music, because they've been around for a long time. I think since like the early '90s, and they're a band from Sweden. So some of you might have actually heard of them, you know, much more than others. I found them. They came during a music festival here in St. Louis. I think it was Mayhem Festival 2008, where Disturbed and Slipknot. Well, Slipknot headlined. Disturbed was second after that, and gosh, there was also Bullet for My Valentine and Mastodon and Dragon Force, Suicide Silence, In Flames, Five Finger Death Punch, Black Tide, like lots of really good bands were there. But yeah, that was the year I found In Flames and Five Finger Death Punch, and so yeah, In Flames is really awesome band, and they came out with a new CD not too long ago, and it's like really good. They've had kind of different. Their early eras were like very much like super just like scream and kind of like thrash metal sort of heavy like that, and then they kind of got into kind of more of like a balanced sort of like they kind of introduced like singing into their music, and then actually did have an era too where there was like a whole lot more singing versus screaming and doing sort of stuff like that. But yeah, this new era is like it's kind of like a combination of all their different music and stuff, and it's really good. And I think the CD is called Foregone. Um, I believe that's what it's called, Foregone. Yeah, Foregone, Foregone. And it's a really good album. There's this one song on there especially called a dialogue in B flat minor. Yeah, dialogue in B flat minor. That song is really good. Some of those guys in a few times in Houston, and my cousin being into those bands. Nice. As Gina's referred, you can watch on either stream you want, James, but you're currently on Gina streams, it looks like, based off of the little link on there. And honestly, I don't think anybody could see what I typed on Gina's site because it doesn't post actually in her chat. I have to pull up her video. So let me silence my phone. There we go. I'll type it in her chat now. Dialogue. Bam. Yeah, it's like one of my favorite songs right now. That one, and like pretty much like the 3 or 4 songs that are right there, like the end of the album, are like my favorite songs on the album. In the Dark, Dialogue in B flat minor, and Cynosure. Great songs. But as far as like fishy things are going, I have been thinking about my pond a lot, and kind of planning stuff out in my brain again of how I'm going to do it. And I opened up my pond liner and stuff and put it over my garden area to like kill all the grass and any weeds and stuff that are growing in that area, and so I could finally see how big the pond liner is. And it was actually much larger than I was originally expecting it to be when I was kind of thinking about it in my head. So the size of the pond that I'm going for should work perfectly because I want to have like extra liner go up onto the top where I'm going to have kind of like a stream waterfall sort of thing going on. And that way, any excess water that might run through the rocks or overflow or anything like that will just go right back into the pond versus like kind of, you know, sinking into the dirt or whatever else, because that was kind of issue that I had with this pond. and why I redid the waterfall in the first place. But even redoing the waterfall and stacking all those rocks and trying to use that expanding foam stuff, it worked pretty good. But some of those like smooth, like river stones that I was using, there was nothing to grip on to the expanding foam. They were smooth. Like the foam couldn't fit into any crevices to like grab on. So some of those rocks were able to move. And then the waterfall wasn't like perfectly like level or anything like that as well. So there was a little bit of overflow, which was great for the plants going around it. Like the irises and all that stuff were good in water. Like I never had to worry about watering the irises or anything like that. But in general, the pond would just kind of lose some water there. But it would lose most of the water because there was just actually a tear in the liner and it got worse and worse as it went on. New look lost in working and lurking. Good to see you. Good to see you. Vibes Aquatics is here. What's up? I came across a 2013 Les Paul Cherry Sunburst. The only problem is the lefty. The price was too good to pass up. Well, you could be like the opposite of Jimi Hendrix, where, Jimi Hendrix had a right-handed guitar that he played left-handed. You can get a left-handed guitar and learn how to play it right-handed. And yeah, there you go. Jeff King. Yeah, I believe I have enough like flat, like rock thing or whatever to make like an outline for the entire pond. But I'm I'm trying to like debate like how hardcore I want to like do like the inside of the pond. Like, do I want to just kind of keep it mostly bare and black to kind of like highlight the goldfish a little bit more and just keep all the plants and stuff that I'm going to grow in like growing baskets? Or do I want to do it like full on like ecosystem style? Like, I really, really want to go for like full on ecosystem style. Like, I really like what um, Serpent Design does with some of the different ponds that he's made. Not, I do like his like the wooden one that he made at his old house. But yeah, I like the ecosystem style. I want to make it kind of like as realistic as possible or whatever, while still having the pond liner. But I don't I don't know where I'm gonna find all these big rocks and stuff like that. I guess I can just go down to the river. I'm not too far from the river, and I can just collect a whole bunch of like limestone and things like that. Um, I've been kind of putting some of my old like aquascaping rocks and stuff like that outside. Ones that were like covered in like blackbeard algae and stuff like that. I just put them outside and letting the rain and all that stuff knock it all off and kill it all when it dries out and stuff like that too. And I plan to use like a lot of those rocks into the pond. And all that. Okay, like Gina's stream better. I know the same one, just be fair. Oh, okay, you like Gina's stream better. Nice, James. And then once I get that pond going, I'm gonna go buy a bunch of little white goldfish from the pet store, maybe a couple koi fish as well, and let them grow out. It's gonna be great. But I have cattails already in several different pieces that I will use some in the pond, but it grows pretty quickly and expands out. So I'm just going to use a smaller piece. I'm going to put that up like where like the stream is gonna come down, so it kind of like runs through the cattails and stuff in that area where it's gonna be kind of like my bog area. Because the way that I'm gonna set up my pond, I know some people do like a one pond and then like a stream and then like another pond and stuff like that. Like I'm gonna do kind of like a waterfall stream kind of going down and it's gonna drain into like one big main basin, but the basin's gonna have like a couple different levels. So like where the water kind of comes in is gonna be the most shallow area where I'll put like the cattails and stuff like that that'll be growing like up out of the water. And then I'll have like another section after that that's a little bit lower where I'll have like water lilies that will like come up and all that stuff too. And then I'll have like the main like basin area that's like really nice and deep for the fish to go down in. That's gonna be like probably, I think I want to go for like 5 foot deep. Like it doesn't even have to be that deep, but like I want to make it like nice and deep. So at least 4 foot deep. And then on like some of the sides, I'll make like little shelves too, where I can put like some pots for different things, and then I'm going to more or less make one area where there's kind of like stairs so that I can go in and out of the pond because I want to make it, the pond's going to be big enough where I can get in the pond and hang out and more or less swim with the fish, though there's not going to be much like swim space for me, but it'll be big enough to where I can get in the pond, and that's what I want to be able to do. Take care for now. Just want to say hello. Well, later, Patrick. You have a good one. Al Wet Sox is here. What's up, Al Wet Sox? The Nano Aquarium guy. What's up? Jumped over here to spread the support. All right. Great to see you over on my side of the stream. Oh, man. Anybody got any like really cool things going on in their fish room right now? I really don't have anything super crazy going on in my fish room life here. My mollies and my shrimp, like everybody's doing fine and all that stuff, but nothing really exciting going on. I did get some more hostas, a type of like outdoor plant from a customer of mine. She's like the head of the Gardeners of Florissant, which is like the town of I live in. It's like the club here too. Like I think I'm a member. She sends me emails about it and stuff, but I'm not like a paid member or anything like that. But so she had a whole bunch of plants when I was taking to her. It's like, if you want to buy anything off my driveway or whatever. And so I bought some variegated hostas because I have like some blue hostas outside the front of my house that I really like. I kind of always thought hostas were boring when I was a kid, but now that I'm like older, I really like them, and they're pretty simple plants too. But so I have some blue ones, but I had bought two different types of variegated hostas. So one has like green on the middle and it's like white on the outer rim and stuff like that. Like the outer part is white and the inner part is green. And then the other ones, the inner part is white and the outer part is green. So I'm debating if I want to mix those together in like one big pile. So as they spread out, they just kind of look all mixed, or if I want to put them like in two different areas but close together to where like I have a big bunch of one, a big bunch of another, and then my big bunches of the blue. I know I might just mix all the hostas. Blue smooth or blue crinkle? Blue smooth. She did have some really nice like crinkled hostas and like miniature hostas and stuff like that too. but I got what I got, and my lemon tree is doing really good outside now, which is making me happy. I haven't noticed like any new growth or whatever yet, but it seems to be doing real good. And I have a couple seeds that have sprouted, which is nice. Vinoske fish koto. What's up? What's up? I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy over at my friend's house because he has the Xbox Series X, like the newest one, and it's only on that system and the PlayStation 5 that you can do play right now. They kept pushing back the um, Xbox One version and the PlayStation 4 version and all that stuff, and like I pre-ordered it like the same time he pre-ordered it, but he's already like beat the game completely now. He just has like a few little like maybe like one or two side missions to do, and then just finishing exploring all the map and stuff like that. But yeah, he's pretty much done with his, and so I've been playing over there and getting my character going. I'm like level, I think like 21, 22 now, and it's been I've been having fun with it. But I finally got charged for my pre-order version of it, and I believe I can play it on the 5th, or maybe it was the 10th. When is the See, the initial release date was February the 7th. So he has been able to play it for forever. But yeah, I will be able to play it on May the 5th. So yeah. It's like, why delay one so much longer than the others? And they're like, so it has. I don't remember exactly what their excuse was, but it was some stupid excuse about making it like the best game on all consoles or whatever. And so it's like, well, if you're worried about it, like, I don't understand how they could release it on the newer ones and not on the older ones. After a decade, when a minor lemon got spider mite infestation, I battled 2 years and gave up. I missed the blue winter. Oh man, that sucks. Yeah, the best thing for spider mites is to get neem oil, but it's pretty expensive to order it. And I've been trying to find like a neem plant or neem seeds so I can like grow it myself to make my own oil more or less. And yeah, it's not that easy. But I have black raspberries and golden raspberries, and they are both growing in really nice now. My 7 blueberry bushes, they all seem to be doing good. One seems to have maybe not made it through winter, or maybe it's just a little late, like later and stuff than the other ones are. I don't know. I got to go back out there and look at it again. But I got 6 out of the 7 that are definitely doing really, really good. Um, One of my varieties of blueberry bush that I have is it's a pink lemonade blueberry, so it'll actually ripen to like a reddish pink color versus blue, and I'm really excited to see what it like tastes like. Lemonade blueberry. Yeah, let me show what this looks like here. Yeah, so it's like a pink color. hopefully I get plenty that I get a nice big amount like that. That'd be awesome if I got that many. I love my blueberries. And yeah, the pink lemonade variety has like thinner leaves than my other blueberry bushes do. So it stands out a lot. Like these thinner, longer leaves. They look like service berries. Yeah. Yeah. And I also, my gooseberry bush is like doing really well. It's much bigger than it was last year, and it's already bloomed. And I think some of the flowers are already like starting to fall off and stuff like that. So that means like it's starting to fruit up already. And I have a golden gooseberry, and wait a minute. Oh, that's tomatillos. It's not. Wait, oh, it's so good about it. Update or whatever. I got a weird notification in my ear. Just got another notification sound in my ear. I don't know what's going on here. Um, tomatillo. I'm not looking for tomatillos. I'm looking for gooseberries. It's not. That's not it though. There we go. I don't know why I was showing other weird stuff. Here we go. So now I should have a good picture to show you guys. These golden gooseberries. And yeah, I don't know why it's showing tomatillos in with them. There's red ones as well, which I really want to get some red gooseberries because man, look at those colors and the little sparkles and the veins and all that stuff. But yeah, they have these like white veins and oh, there's even black ones too. Nice. But I have the golden variety, and they when they're ripe, they have a little bit of a squishiness to them. Wow, those look like they have little spikes and stuff like that, which is interesting. Um, but they kind of have a taste similar to I want to say like white grapes. They're really good, but they're harder than like white grapes. But I want to get a whole bunch of them and make like a gooseberry sauce this year. Gold raspberries good. Yes, they are really good. I didn't get to try any black raspberries last year when I planted them, but my golden raspberry plant last year did produce a little bit of golden raspberries, and I got to try one of them. Well, actually, two of them, because there's only I think there's only three, and the third one was like I don't know, it didn't uh, grow properly or something like that. But man, so good. Like definitely probably my favorite raspberry was the golden one. I thought it would be the black raspberries, and I love black raspberries, but that golden one had it just had kind of like I don't know, like a flavor that can only be described as like kind of golden, like kind of like almost apricot like um in in the raspberry as well. Like raspberry, it's so good though. And I just can't wait to have so much fruit. Just have my whole backyard just full of fruit, and uh, it's gonna be great because I got thornless blackberries that are just huge, and I trimmed a whole bunch back last year, so this year it should like really thicken up versus kind of being kind of more scraggly and stuff. But yeah, thicken up and just be more dense with the growth. And my black raspberries and golden raspberries are 3-4 times bigger than they were last year already. And I have the golden raspberry in the middle. It's like all bushy and stuff. And then I have the black raspberries on the side. And I let some of the runners go last year. And they kind of, I buried the tips in the ground. And so I have more shoots coming up from the ground from the black raspberries. So I'm just kind of helping them spread out. So I'm going to have a whole big patch of raspberries, mixture of golden and black raspberries in a few years. It's going to be great. And then we got all my blueberry bushes that they grow pretty slow, actually. Blueberry bushes do. I was hoping, by now or whatever this time, I'd have really nice big blueberry bushes, but they don't get quite as big as I was hoping they would, or at least it takes a long time for them to get that big, maybe. And yeah, I definitely have a problem with squirrels, deers and rabbits. I have a fenced yard, so I don't have to deal with deer. And rabbits, I don't really deal with so much because, like, I have like random cats, like outdoor cats and stuff that are coming to my yard. And most of the time, I try to chase the cats out because I don't really want the cats. But I'd rather have the cats hanging out in my yard than like a whole bunch of squirrels and stuff like that. But yeah, last year I had such an abundance of blueberries on my bushes. I was so excited. And I got like the first, I was looking through, and there was one that was just like pretty much perfectly ripe. And I'm just like, all right, my first ripe blueberry of the year. And I plucked it off, and I didn't even like wash it. I just kind of rubbed it a little bit on my shirt to kind of get that little bit of that like fuzziness kind of off of it and just expose it more. And then I just ate it right then, and it was so good. And then I came out like 2 days later, and all the blueberries were gone. And I was like, oh, son of a bitch. I like to plant some high bush berry food. See, I had a high bush variety of blueberry, and it was producing really good big blueberries and stuff like that too. And why did I get that notification again? I'm not losing sound or anything when that happens, right? I'm not sure what that sound is. It sounds like something's disconnecting and then reconnecting. I don't know. But if it's my headphones, it doesn't matter because I'm not like hearing anything anyway. But if I'm losing my microphone, I would like to know that. But that blueberry bush, I had planted it in a pot, and it was growing really good and really big. But then 2 years ago, we had a really, really cold winter. And even though blueberry bushes are rated for, negative 20 degrees, that's when they're buried in the ground. I'm pretty sure that the roots and stuff just, froze solid and stuff like that over winter. And so it didn't make it that year. It kind of made me mad too because I was also doing an air layering on it, and I was going to clone that bush because it was such a good bush. The birds would do that to the service berries. The second they were ripe, they'd be stripped clean in 5 minutes. Yeah. See, I don't understand. Like, the blueberries will be gone. Um, my strawberries will be fine. My black raspberries, they either just produce so much to where it doesn't matter if some are gone or whatever, but my blackberries produce so well. Um, yeah, I leave some intentionally to, for birds or whatever. I'll pick like hands full every day of them just getting more and more ripe, just full hands. And some will be overripe by the time I get out there sometimes, and they'll be eaten on by bugs or whatever else. And so I'll just avoid those and I'll go for the ones that are looking nice. And it is what it is. What's up? Why are we always yelling? Way, way, away from here, happy. Awesome live stream. Well, thank you. I'm glad you're having fun in here. Gotta appreciate a good bush. Exactly. Exactly. Kind of depends on the wind and also the amount of freeze thaws. Yep. Yeah. And then I think, too, like, I don't know. I don't think I ever watered it like right before a hard freeze or anything like that. But it is possible I might have done that too, just to try and make sure that it was healthy and not like too dry. I might have watered it, and then it might have been holding water in there when it froze, and so like, the whole like all the dirt and everything just probably crystallized with ice, which wouldn't normally happen deep into the ground per se. That's what happens to the strawberries. The bugs get on them. Yeah, and so that's why I tend to grow strawberries from hanging baskets. Actually, you don't get all the spreading out because the vines that go down, I just end up chopping them off so they don't end up rooting into the ground underneath the pot. But yeah, you can. Some bugs will still get up into there, but it does kind of keep the squirrels away for the most part too when you have them in a hanging basket. And I don't know, I like growing strawberries out of a hanging basket. I had this one hanging basket that has like several compartments, and so you can put several strawberry plants in there. But since you're growing them in a basket versus in the ground, they also don't make it through winter. If you're growing strawberries in the ground, they'll winterize and then they'll come back and you'll have twice as big of a strawberry patch the next year as you had prior. And then the year after that, you'll have 4 times as big as the year you just had. Because strawberries just spread out like crazy. And they shoot out these runners just like dwarf sage or whatever in your aquarium's done. And it just spreads out and roots, and you can even potentially get strawberries from a runner in the same year. Whereas a lot of plants, like blackberry vines, the way that they grow is you get all growth in one year, and then the next year, what is of that vine it'll produce leaves and all that stuff again too, but then you'll get fruiting from that vine the next year, and sprouts will grow from that. And so you get a whole bunch of growth. So you get growth one year, and then you get fruit production the next year. Whereas like strawberries, depending on the type of strawberries, because you have some strawberries that they are like June bearing strawberries, which is the type of strawberries that Lady Diane has, to where they'll grow a bunch, they'll produce all their strawberries in June, and then after June, they'll go back to spreading out, growing, and then they'll winterize and go dormant, and then they come back and do the same thing next year. Why are the only strays that come to my house vicious killer bees? Yeah. Um, I saw the cats sitting out there. I saw two cats on my backyard when I came home from like on a break or whatever from work, and they were just chilling out like in between my golden raspberry bush and my black raspberry bush area. They're just two cats taking a nap there, and so I opened the back door and just run out, ah, get out of my yard, get out of my yard, or whatever, sort of thing. Cat that looks like just like mine just attacked mine. It's hard to tell which one to kick. Kidding. I wouldn't do that. I'd miss. Kidding. Yeah. It's like, yeah, I don't want the moles and the mice and all the other little pests and stuff in my yard. But I don't necessarily like having all the cats hanging out in my yard either, because especially when I get my pond going again, I don't want them messing with my fish. Uh, I'm pretty sure cats, like when my pond was draining and all that stuff, at one point it drained low enough to where a ledge that was supposed to be used to hold like a plant basket or whatever was pretty much the perfect area to just step down and be right there with the fish that didn't really have much of an area to go to. And so I'm pretty sure my last like three goldfish or whatever that I had were all just pulled straight out of the pond by cats. I found two of them just next to the pond, but like not in the pond. And there's no way they jumped out that far. So like they were definitely pulled out by cats and stuff like that. And yeah, it makes me kind of mad. And it's like if they ate the goldfish or whatever, that'd be one thing. But cats play with their food, and then after playing with it for a while, they just get bored with it, and then they realize that there's other stuff out there that doesn't smell so gross and fishy that they can eat, or they're just not even hungry. And it's like, but yeah, going out there, you know, so I was pretty much going out there every day, like with my hose and water conditioner, filling the pond back up and it's draining back down. I'm filling it back up and it's draining back down. I'm doing this every day. And yeah, I go out there one day and I just literally see my remaining goldfish outside the pond. And so that was when I was just like, well, screw it. There's no point in trying to fill up the pond again now. Yeah, I was just trying to keep the goldfish alive to where, you know, I could redo the pond this previous year and do that. But even though I lost the goldfish, it did kind of end up working out in a certain way because I didn't get the pond finished last year. And I'm hoping to get the pond finished this year, but depending on how things go, I might not even get the pond finished this year. And so I'm going to try to get it finished this year for sure. I really want to get that pond finished. And do you know if strawberry plants are supposed to last 3 to 5 years? Yeah. Um, so do they die or just stop producing? Yeah. Um, they pretty much like the first year they'll just kind of be like spreading out um, each plant. So okay, let me walk you through the life cycle of a strawberry plant here. So you buy one single strawberry plant from a Home Depot. Like you don't buy one of those packs that has multiples. You literally buy just one strawberry plant, okay? So you take that strawberry plant home and you bury it in a really nice spot where it gets plenty of sunlight and it's even potentially in a low spot in your yard. So like the dirt and stuff stays like extra moist. It'll do like kind of like soil that retains more water. It kind of likes that or whatever, So you plant your strawberry plant. That year, that strawberry plant will shoot out several runners. Okay, it might produce 4 or 5 strawberries, but it's going to shoot out several runners. Those runners, you might get 1 or 2 strawberries from each of them, but you're not going to get much. They're going to be focusing more on sending out roots, actually becoming their own plants, and versus and then growing more vegetation. So then that original strawberry plant again, the next year will continue producing strawberries. And it might send out a couple more runners from itself. And then the year after that, it's going to produce more strawberries. And it might send out another runner or 2. That final year, it might produce strawberries. It might not. It's definitely not going to shoot out any runners. And then after that, it just dies. If it even lasts that long. Because as strawberries continue to send out runners, they're constantly creating more clones of themselves. You can even cut off all their original connections, and that'll actually cause it to spread out even faster and all that. Because they'll focus more on sending out the you're actually in the coma. Danny's chilling. Gina's, I thought I was having a stroke. Yes, you are having a stroke. So this is Fish and Friends with Danny and Gina. Gina just happens to not be here tonight. But yeah, we've been streaming on both of our channels. Which is kind of funny that Gina's not here, but because she still set it up to stream on her channel, here I am on Gina's channel. Hi everybody on Gina's channel. So almost all my runners froze this year. Yeah, that's not the best. That's not really a good thing. Hopefully you still have some, but with all the runners, what I was gonna say is with all the runners and stuff going around, they'll just cover each other up and be kind of fighting for sunlight and stuff like that. So you might have one individual plant that it lasts 3 to 5 years, because by that time it's just been taken over by another strawberry plant that's just stronger than it, because it's only 1 or 2 years old versus being 3 to 5 years old. And that's just kind of what they do. You'll never run out of strawberries unless you end up with some sort of I don't know, just severe flooding. But I mean severe flooding, the whole plant's got to be submerged, and or a severe drought. If you just never ever water them, they'll die. Maybe a little bit of too much sunlight. They do need a little bit of shade. I wouldn't say 24/7 sun. Probably 75% sun. And then white vans. Nice. I like that one. But yeah, you more or less, if you have any sort of knowledge in taking care of even the simplest plant, you're going to be fine with strawberries buried in the ground. They do fantastic here in Missouri. Missouri is the strawberry center of the United States, pretty much. Corn is all in Nebraska and Iowa and stuff like that. We got strawberries and soy here in Missouri. I don't really want to talk about the soy, though, because soy is a big issue with today's world. Too much soy messing with people's hormones, causing estrogen imbalances, which causes cancer. But anyway, Mine get too much sun. Yeah, and you can balance out the too much sun by just watering them heavy. I'm in a cornfield in Iowa. Why is stir fry never cooked on the ocean? Because everyone knows you can't walk on water. Yep, yep. You gotta walk this way. What's up, Danny King Aquatics? Everybody popping in on the Gina's side. Smash the like button over there on Gina's channel. Make sure you're subscribed over to Gina as well. And then don't forget to pop over to my channel and, hit that like button and subscribe as well. Because we're streaming on both channels tonight. And, yeah. I would like to get to 600 subscribers. We're trying to get Gina up to 500 subscribers by the Keystone Clash. Even though, Gina's Gina. She may not be able to have like an official like YouTuber pass sort of thing or whatever, but we're all going to allow Gina into like the YouTube area anyway because it's Gina. Waiting in line to go home from redfish, bluefish. Right on. Does anybody know if you can grow strawberries out of the back of a tank like you can some plants? Yes. Yes, you can. The strawberries actually do really, really well aquaponically right out of the tank. I would suggest some sort of grow media in the back, like leca balls in like a basket, just to hold the plant and give some of the roots something to attach to. But like what I have going on with this pothos right here, with the roots growing freely, let me. Actually, I don't think I have enough cord on that. Well, screw it. I'm gonna try it anyway. I'm gonna take the camera and. Sorry about the ceiling fan. Yeah, you can kind of see it a little bit better. So I have like a basket. I dropped the camera. Sorry if you have epilepsy. Whatever. You can't really see it very well. Let me get this fixed. There we go. Yeah, so there's a little basket that I have in there with some leca balls. It's actually one of the baskets that come when like you buy aquatic plants. And but yeah, strawberries will grow really well. You'll just want to kind of cut off the runners after they get so long. And it should go for like 3 to 5 years potentially. You'll get some strawberries, and those strawberries will be really good too. I had to subscribe to you because I wasn't, and it wouldn't let me put anything in chat. Well, yeah, I gotta run that subscriber only chat. I like to do that because one, it kind of keeps things a little bit more regulated as far as getting any sort of bots and stuff like that in there. Most of the time, those bots don't want to wait around 10 minutes just to post a stupid link and things like that. And, well, they can't post links anyway, but you know what I mean, to spam the chat. And it also, especially when I'm doing like giveaways and things like that, I don't like it when people just come in because they see giveaway in the title or something like that, and or when they're like scrolling through and it shows you like the video preview, they can see like the wheel or things like that going on, and just come in and like screw up the giveaway. I don't even like to tell people when I'm doing giveaways. Most of the time I like to just surprise them with giveaways, because that way I'm taking care of my actual subscribers, my actual viewers, the people that are here to watch the content, not just get free stuff. So Danny just listed most of the ways I have killed plants. Yeah. Good to know. Tank for going up soon and maybe doing this, that. Yeah. In general, you can grow pretty much any soft stem plant out of water. What do I mean by soft stem? I mean, like the pothos, where the stem stays green, or if the plant's red, the stem stays red, and it's smooth and like kind of squishy, and if you were to like break the stem, there'd be like a hollow area that actually holds like a lot of water. Like those sort of plants that have that sort of stem, pretty much any plant like that you can grow directly out of water. um, it may take a little bit to transition, but you'll notice the water roots will be different than the terrestrial roots will, because they the roots need to get oxygen as well, and so they will adapt to get oxygen in a different way. Big Tank Hank is here. What's up, Big Tank Hank? My weak ass arms. But yeah, the soft stem plants will work. Pothos, strawberries, uh, basil, lots of different herbs. But if the plant that you're growing um, is a plant that forms any sort of bark, it will not grow out of water. Uh, your succulents and things like that will not grow out of water. You can use water for a short period of time on like a leaf of a succulent or something like that to help like stimulate root growth. But those videos that show you that are not good ways to it's not good ways to actually stimulate the root growth, because those roots that will be growing will be water roots. They won't be terrestrial roots. So then when you put it in the dirt, those roots are pretty much going to have to die, and it's going to have to get new roots anyway. And especially with like succulents. Succulents don't really form water roots because their root system and the succulent itself is meant to like soak up as much water as possible. And so when you just surround it by water, it literally like drowns itself and it rots and all that stuff. Exactly like Craig said, they rot. And so when you're like wanting to clone your succulent, you just want to like kind of pull a leaf off, or it's best to just find a leaf that kind of is ready to naturally fall off, more or less, and you just put it on top of the dirt and you just let it rest there, and you'll start to see little roots come out, and then you can more or less just bury those roots. But the best thing to actually do is you'll see roots, and eventually you'll start to see the little head of a new plant growing from that leaf, and that's when you want to bury it. There's a compact bush basil that makes a lovely edge plant in any type of garden. Yes, yes. There's lots of different types of basil, and I love all different sorts of basil. And basil's fun because you can more or less grow basil the same way you can grow like your aquatic stem plants. It's crazy. So I did it in a live stream, I believe, last year with my garden. I was talking about it, or maybe it was 2 years ago now, but where I was actually outside working in my garden, doing different things. And with basil, you can more or less just like cut it off anywhere on the stem and just bury it, and it'll start to grow. Like just like you do with your stem plants, you trim them and then you replant the trimmings. You can do the same thing with basil. Now you can make it even easier if you use a little bit of like root stimulating powder, and maybe even use a little bit of water to help get it to grow, because it will kind of struggle with absorbing water when it's first trimmed. Thai basil is gorgeous and it gets woody, yeah. So you don't really want to do it with Thai basil. Um, but like your standard, like sweet basil, your purple basil, lots of different things. Yeah, those can go right out of a fish tank. Um, I actually, oh, that's great. Me too. Yeah, gardening is pretty much my second hobby. It used to be my like primary hobby, and then, I kind of brought gardening inside with fish tanks and all that stuff. Same with my terrarium. I'm like gardening inside there, and but yeah, I've always been big on gardening and growing plants and taking care of animals and things like that. And I love growing my own food. You'll never get better tasting food than something you've grown out of your own backyard, unless you have just crappy dirt full of poison, which is possible. Um, if you've never grown anything in like your backyard before, um, I don't know. Well, I never really thought about it per se or whatever, but apparently, like you can get like lead poisoning stuff from your soil and lots of other sort of issues from your dirt. So, if you're worried about something like that, you might want to get your soil tested. If you're near any sort of like things, like if you live in the city or something like that, and you're near like power plants or whatever else, you may want to get your soil tested. But I've never tested my soil anywhere. Or you can always just grow out of pots, and buy potting soil. I'm not one of those people that sits there and is like, don't buy Miracle Grow. Miracle Grow is poison. Like, you can use Miracle Grow. I use Miracle Grow. It does help stuff grow better. And I've never had, like, my food taste bad or anything like that with Miracle Grow. You can grow veggies in tubs. It works great. Yep, you can do that. House plants, fruit, vegetable garden, landscaping, flowers. So the challenge was aquatic plants. Exactly. Exactly. I had, like, it was aquatic plants that brought me back into, like, keeping fish and stuff like that. And the aquascaping, versus landscaping. And it was a lot of fun. Um, but gardening is, I just love doing that. I love plants and watching them grow. Yeah, and I agree that Monsanto is more or less evil or whatever, depending on who you ask. But like, I don't know. It depends. Like, I don't use Roundup. I'll use Miracle Grow, but I don't use Roundup. There's certain things that I won't use, and it has nothing to do necessarily with the fact that it comes from Monsanto. It's just like I've I've seen the issues with Roundup, and Roundup has had many sort of uh, you know lawsuits and things like that. So I won't use Roundup. But I mean, like, there's some people out there that say um, you can't use a microwave. Like, microwaves are poison, and they shoot your food full of radiation. But it's like, the word radiation is not a scary word. Like, people take the word radiation and they think of it like the scariest thing ever, and their mind goes right to like plutonium and uranium and things that are, quote unquote radioactive substances. And substances that are radioactive, it, it, it means they're like shooting their particles out and breaking down, and those particles are harmful. And like that's what radioactive means. But radiation, like radioactive materials radiates themselves. And so, but the term radiation, it just means like the spreading out of something or whatever, you know? So you can have a radiating heater in your house, which just more or less heats up water and runs it through these metal tubes, and the heat radiates out from the metal and all that stuff. And the radiator in your car like does the same sort of thing, and it cools down the engine using the water and all that stuff in your car. And no, it's radio waves is what they say, and more or less it is, but so the way that microwaves work is it's a specific frequency of radio waves. Yes, radio waves, but the frequency is more or less it's the same natural frequency as water. So everything in the universe has its own natural frequency. You know, when they talk about like the brown note, like there's a certain note that you can sing that makes people shit themselves. It's not actually true, but it's really low F sharp. And that is the note more or less of the human cells. And so if you were to play that note and make human cells vibrate, and so the same way that you can have like an opera singer sing a really high note, I'm not 100% sure what note that is, but it's a really high note that is the same natural frequency as quartz crystal glass or whatever. And so that's how they will shatter a glass, by singing a high note. They're singing the same note as the natural frequency of the glass. So as they're singing the note, it causes the glass to vibrate, which shatters the glass. So the radio waves of a microwave are the same natural frequency as the water. And so that's why you can't microwave dry food. And the radio waves are also fairly large. They have a certain spread. So little small particles like I don't know, like if you were to take a grain of rice and like cut it in half, and it'd be like really small, it's actually smaller than the wave is, to where it won't cook that either. But it's the same. The waves are the same natural frequency as the water, and so that's why you add water to certain things when you cook it in the microwave, because it causes the water to vibrate, which then, because of the transfer of energy, it causes that kinetic energy to turn into potential energy, which then turns into actual like thermal energy, which is what heats your food. So the vibration of the water, the vibrations, man, that's what heats up your food. And so there's no like residual radiation in your food after that. It's the same thing as singing a really high note and shattering a crystal glass. And that's why your microwave also makes that sound when it's cooking, because it's producing that sound that it's actually a low enough sound where like it's like undetectable, but you're hearing like a different level of it. But then there's also like infrared technology in microwaves nowadays too, which uses light to heat your food. Infrared light. So first microwaves were using sound waves more or less, and now they're also using light waves. So you can, I mean, how awesome is that when you really break it down how microwaves work? We're using light and sound to heat up your food. And did I just throat say yes, I did? I just grabbed. The more spread the wave vibration is, the easier it is to pass through solid matter. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the only danger to microwaves is if you're like sitting there standing close to it, you might get some issues while it's on. And then, I mean, if you were inside a microwave, yeah, it would make all the water in your body, which, I mean, we all know we're like, what, like 95% water or whatever it is, something like that. So, was that an SNL for adult type? Oh yeah, the oops, I just crapped my pants. Like, adult diapers. yeah, yeah, that was an SNL skit, I believe. Um, but what was I saying? Yeah, so if you're in the microwave, it would cause all your water molecules inside your body to start vibrating, and you would first like thing to go is your eyeballs and everything in your body would probably swell up, and then the human body would more or less just pop, like if you put a hot dog in the microwave and you cooked it like too long and it just kind of explodes, you know, like that's what would happen. um, but yeah, it wouldn't like um, yeah, like I said, people confuse radiation and radioactive and all that stuff, and their immediate thoughts are just like it's scary. And there are certain effects to different things for sure. There's definitely like there's reason to be nervous around certain things for sure, but it's like people will take people will just take things way too far. Throat singing. Yeah, I I've been kind of working on throat singing for a good long time, and I finally like figured out how it worked. And it was somebody like I was watching a video or whatever, and somebody was talking about how like throat singing is with the same like secondary set of like vocal cords and stuff that you use for like metal screaming and all that. And that's when it clicked for me on like how to do it. And so then I like started kind of working on it and figured it out. Um, but that might not make sense to people that don't know how to do like the metal screaming and stuff like that. And not everybody does it the exact same way, even. A friend of mine that passed work on the big microwave stuff, and some idiot turned it on and cooked him partway before he passed. A friend of mine that in the past worked on big microwave stuff, and some idiot turned it on and cooked him partway years ago before he passed away. Oh man, that sucks. I've seen those sort of things or whatever, and I think they did that on like a movie too. Was it like Dodgeball or I don't know, something like that, where they put somebody in a microwave? Or I don't know, maybe it was The Hangover. I don't know. So it was one of those like stupid movies that was like a comedy, but also like not. I don't know. Yeah, that's brutal. Yeah, metal screaming. But like also I don't know. Sometimes it's hard for me to describe how I do certain things with my voice as well, because I've been doing it for like so long, and I've been getting a little bit better at it. I've been trying to watch like videos of other people describing it so that I can describe it a little bit better, because I've been making sounds, weird sounds and whatever and stuff like that my entire life. Like I grew up just as a little kid, just making weird sounds and wanting to mimic everything, and just really just always pushed the limits of my vocal abilities and different things like that. And so, just in doing that so much growing up, I could, kind of hear different sounds, and I'd be like, oh, I kind of know how to make that sound with my voice. And so then I just more or less do it. And like, that's kind of how I figured out a lot of the different things that I do. And, with like metal screaming and things like that, people would kind of talk about how they kind of worked on it. And so then it's like, oh, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. And, but gosh, like, I can't, I'm not saying like I am the world's best like impersonator or anything like that by any means. I'm actually not that great at doing most impersonations. Some of them like I try to work on, some I just can't do or whatever, because I've never like wanted to be like a celebrity impersonator or anything like that. But sometimes I'll hear something, or a certain person will say something, or it'll be like a cartoon character of somebody else doing a character voice, and I'll know how they did the character voice to where I can then just like say it back like the exact same way. Yeah, I know. I like voice. I know you like voice manipulation as well, and you're pretty darn good at a lot of that stuff. But I mean, like, so I was with one of my ex girlfriends when we were dating, and we were like just hanging out, and we were watching a movie called Fern Gully. I'm not sure how many of you have seen the movie Fern Gully, but it's one of my favorite movies. It's kind of like that same idea of like Dances with Wolves and Avatar, as where like there's this magical like land of like fairies in this Fern Gully that's super healthy ecosystem, and there's this evil thing, which in this case was like, it was literally like an evil scum thing, which was like corrupting men to like destroy like the holy tree that held everything together. Exactly the same sort of story as like Avatar, get the men, corrupt them, destroy the holy tree, that's Avatar. But this was in Fern Gully as well. She knows Fern Gully. So Skitty Nona might be the judge on how good this impersonation is. But there's this one point where, destruction starts happening, and they're figuring out, and there's like this human that gets like magically shrunk down with the fairies, and he's like learning to live with the fairies, and he's basically the magic key in between the human world and the fairy world to like save the whole thing. And there's like the fairy king or whatever, and at one point he just goes, ask the human. And so like right after he said that, I was like, ask the human. And she's like, wow, you're like really good at that. It's like radiates looking when I'm not sleeping over here. A little spot on. But if you guys haven't seen Fern Gully, though, definitely watch it. It's a classic cartoon, and man, it's one of those cartoons that it was when it was before Disney had the cartoon monopoly. It was when there was still lots of other great classic cartoons, great artists and directors out there that were doing things like Anastasia and Bartok and stuff like that. Like, this was by those same people, and it was Robin Williams had a fantastic role as a bat that was subject to scientific experiments on echolocation. So he was a Betty, and like this bat character that had like a radio connected to its brain, and there was all these jokes. Sometimes he'd connect to like different radio stations and just start talking a bunch of like sports gibberish, or at one point he went to like a Vietnam and started like talking like a Vietnam soldier and all that stuff. It's great. They really just let Robin Williams go nuts in that movie too, which is awesome. But I'm pretty sure he was Batty before he was Genie. I gotta look. Fern Gully, The Last Rainforest. Is it a Disney film? No, it's an Australian and American venture by Croyer Films Incorporated. Was Avatar? 1992 was when it came out, and then Aladdin came out in 1992 as well. Wow, that's interesting. So I'm not 100% sure which one actually came out first, but I know Robin Williams enjoyed a lot being part of Fern Gully, and he didn't really care for his experience with Disney, because with Fern Gully used a lot of different voice actors and things like that, and they didn't like highlight Robin Williams as being like like a big character in it or whatever. He was just a character. Whereas with Disney, Robin Williams at first did not want to be part of Aladdin at all, because, well, he didn't want to do much voice acting at all, because he wanted to give voice actors a chance to be voice actors, and he didn't want like to take away from what voice acting was. He didn't want cartoons to turn into with, super crazy star Beyonce and all that stuff. And look at exactly what Disney then turned cartoons into. You have all these famous people doing voice acting now, which they're not even doing true voice acting. They're just more or less being themselves in like a cartoon form with a different character. So like the whole like Trolls movie, you have like Justin Timberlake, and gosh, I don't even know. I never actually saw that movie, but there's I love the movie. Oh gosh, I'm blanking on the name now. Epic. I believe it's DreamWorks did the movie Epic, and it's a great movie, but it's like there was no voice actors in that movie. It was Colin Farrell and Beyonce and Steven Tyler and all these other like actors just using their voice, and it completely took away from what voice acting was actually supposed to be. Williams, Adam West, Mickey Rooney, Matt Blank, or not Matt Blank. What's his name? Something Blank, or was it LeBlanc? Dang, I'm blanking right now. I'm blanking on the blank's name, but he was like the voice of like all of the Looney Tunes. He did Daffy Duck. He did Bugs Bunny. He did Elmer Fudd. He did Texas Pete. He did all the voices. And what's even amazing is he was such a good voice actor that he was able to take characters and make his own characters do impersonations of his characters and make it actually sound like those characters were doing impersonations of each other. Like Mel Blanc. There we go. Thank you so much, Silver Creek. This guy, Mel Blanc, there's a whole interview on it, but it's just fantastic where so he had Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck, two very distinct voices that are done very different ways. One's done like up in your cheeks, and the other one's done kind of, what's up, Doc? Like talking at the bottom of your voice, you know. But then there's a whole scene where Daffy Duck is like making fun of Bugs Bunny, and Bugs Bunny is in turn like making fun of Daffy Duck. And those two voices, when you try and do something like that, the voices just kind of end up melding together where it just sounds like, Daffy Bunny. But the Daffy Duck impersonating Bugs Bunny sounded different than the Bugs Bunny impersonating Daffy Duck. And both of them didn't sound completely like Daffy Duck or Bugs Bunny either, to where, arguing with himself back and forth, and it actually sounded like distinct characters impersonating each other. And it was absolutely perfect. And any voice actor can try and tell you to describe like how incredibly hard that is. But yeah, it's like when you have one voice and you have another voice and you're trying to impersonate your other voice, you just end up sounding like the other voice. Seth MacFarlane is amazing at that as well. Yeah, true. Dude does one takes on set with multiple voices. Yeah, exactly. And like the only character that actually uses like his normal voice for the most part is Brian. But if you talk to him, like Brian is still like a character voice. It's not like his completely normal voice. He does a little bit of manipulation to it, but yeah, Seth MacFarlane's really, really good at that stuff. And those people have always been like big influences on me and stuff like that. All the different voices they can do. And so like I've always been kind of more fascinated with that sort of thing of doing voiceovers, but doing character voices, not like just talking like myself, not just trying to impersonate somebody else per se, but to be able to have somebody draw a cartoon and like look at a cartoon and being able to develop a character voice from looking at an image. And just because I do that with like my animals and stuff like that or whatever, or I'll be at the zoo and or whatever, like Fishy Biz has been kind of doing that with some different voiceovers and stuff with his channel, and a lot of people kind of do that with they'll like talk like the dog that's doing something or whatever, and I'll do that too, where I'll just look at something and be like, you look like your name would be Stuart, and you would have a voice like this, and I love doing that stuff. Yeah. Yeah. It's about time to start taking my cactuses and stuff outside too. After Mother's Day. We've had a few cool days here recently. I've tried the Peter Stewie monologues. They're tough. Yeah. I'm not very good at Stewie. I'm all right at like Peter Griffin. a lot of the impersonations and things that I do, they they work best like just in the moment or whatever, and when it actually like fits in. Like if I just try to impersonate somebody just out of nowhere, most of the time it works. It's decent, but it's not the best because there's no context to like really get me into the character. Danny's got a fish. Yep, I do. The back and forth is so hard. Yeah, for real. You have to drop your jaw and tighten your lips wide for Stewie's. Yes, I knew. It's a pretty tongue. I'm just bad at Stewie, like bad at it. I know that was terrible. I wasn't like trying my hardest at it, but it was like, yeah, it's just bad. I think the first character voice that I more or less like was more public about with my family or whatever was Roz from Monsters Inc. And then it was like Gollum Smeagol from Lord of the Rings. I can do Gollum Smeagol like spot on. Not even gonna lie. Like you really got to get into character with that one because a lot of people use that kind of voice with that's like a little throat, but it's different depending on which character you are because you got Meatball from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, you got Stitch from Lilo and Stitch, you got Gollum, and you got Smeagol, which are both the same but slightly different in the two of them, and they're the same person. And I think there's even more people that use that same sort of blah, 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 voice. And so the inflection, the tightness of how much of you're doing it, the way you move your mouth, it all really matters in the creation of a voice. And it's what really got me to understand character voices even more is that when you watch people that do impersonations, when they're doing the impersonation and it's like a really, really good impersonation, like their whole face changes. They end up looking like the character that they are portraying. And when it comes down to it, in order to sound like somebody else, you have to make your mouth, the inside of your mouth, your throat, and all of that stuff match up to that somebody else. And yeah, like Kermit the Frog is kind of more similar, but it's more in the front of your voice versus being in the back. Kermit the Frog here. Yeah, it's up in the front, Miss Piggy. That meatball is down here on the bench. I'm a meatball. But yeah, like Roz from Monsters Inc. is kind of like a combination. It's actually a dude, which was fascinating too. Like it's supposed to be like a woman in Monsters Inc., but it's voiced by a dude, and it's more or less like a combination of like throat singing and like growling at the same time, but you just like talk like a woman from New York or Brooklyn. So it's just kind of like, gosh, I hope I don't do this bad. Wazowski, you didn't file your paperwork last night. Like, I don't know. I feel like I used to be better at it when I was younger. And like I said, sometimes it just doesn't quite work quite well because I'm not like fully into the character. Noise. Yeah. Voices are fun. And I can tell not everybody's into my voices. I lost a lot of people, and I know there's other people streaming and stuff too. But hey, we still got 8 people here watching. I appreciate you guys, and we got to keep it going for another like 20 minutes or so here. Finding out Bart Simpson is voiced by a woman. Yeah, what's really interesting too is for those of you that watch Rugrats, pretty much half of the Rugrats were all voiced by the same woman, and the other half was voiced by like another woman, and I think I think there was a few male voice actors for like the adults, but like Phil, Lil, Phil and Lil's mother, Chucky, and some other side characters, and I believe Dill Pickles were all voiced by the same person. And then Tommy Pickles, Tommy Pickles' mother, and maybe Dill Pickles as well, I think was voiced by like the same person. And then like I think and Angelica was pretty much her own voice. I think she might have done a few like random characters here and there. And then Charles Xavier, Chucky's dad, was voiced by one guy, and he did like a few other side characters. And then Stu Pickles, I believe, did like one or two random characters as well. Yeah, most of them were done by 2 women, and it's just like that's just crazy. Yellowstone Aquatics, what's up? But speaking of fantastic voice actors as well, I'm not sure how many of you realize too that SpongeBob, um, the voice actor that does SpongeBob, pretty much does like all the voices in SpongeBob as well. Uh, I think Mr. Krabs is. I think he does Mr. Krabs, and no, he doesn't do Mr. Krabs. Somebody else does Mr. Krabs, and somebody else does Patrick. Um, but I think he does Squidward, and I think he does SpongeBob, and he does like a lot of the other like Marling, voices and stuff like that. But he's an incredibly versatile voice actor and does a lot of different things too. He did a lot of voices in Adventure Time. If any of you watched that show. Adventure Time, come on, grab your friends. Go to very distant lands. Jake the dog and Finn the human. The fun never ends. Adventure Time. Which started out as like a little like YouTube show done by Flash Animation, and then like became much more. Roger Bumpus, I think that's what his name is. Oh, Roger Bumpus did Squidward. No, I'm talking about Tom Kenny though. Is who I'm talking about. He does SpongeBob, Ice King. He does Heifer Wolf from um, uh, Rocco's Modern Life. He did Patchy the Pirate. He did Gary from SpongeBob. Um, Lots of different things. Oh, yeah, you're thinking Tom Kenny, yeah. Where's the bird, Danny? Well, yeah, Lapis and Lazuli are both out in like my kitchen living room area, and I'm back in my fish room. I did bring him in here the other day. I had him up on my shoulder, and I was kind of sitting here at the computer, kind of seeing what he would do. And he seemed like he'd chill there for the most part, and then he was kind of flying around and stuff, and he'd come back and he'd land for a while. And so I was, what a hoot! I was thinking about bringing him in here sometime soon for a live stream. I'll try it one of these days. I can bring him in here for at least a period of time sometime soon, but not tonight. Because the main thing is I don't want to leave the cage wide open because Lapis, the female, is not the best at flying because she just hasn't had much practice with it at all. And while I'm live streaming, I don't want to deal with her and my cat potentially going through anything out there. So I can pay attention to Lazuli when he's in here and kind of flying around and stuff like that. But at any point where he's just kind of starts to get uncomfortable and is just not wanting to chill, then I'll have to, get up and put him back in the cage, which is fine. But yeah, he probably won't want to chill throughout an entire live stream on my shoulder. Rocco's favorite thing in the world. Oh my goodness. I cannot. I was so young when I watched Rocco's Modern Life. I can remember so many things, but I can't remember a lot of stuff as well. The main thing I remember from Rocco's Modern Life was him always going, Spunky! Spunky! With his dog. And I remember the episode where the dog found like a squishy slime thing that kept growing and getting bigger and shooting like black ink all over the place and was just taking over. And the other big thing I always remember is he's always getting launched and falling into the cleavage of a giant purple hippo. And she would always be like, how dare you? And slap him out of there. And I remember Mr. and Mrs. Big Head, the like frogs that were his neighbors. And Mr. Big Head always had a voice just like this. And Mrs. Big Head, she talks like this. That's all I remember, really. A sad, crying clown and an iron lung. That's his favorite thing, is a sad, crying clown and an iron lung. Wow. I don't remember that at all. Like Mrs. Big Head more or less had a voice similar to like Cartman from South Park. Just, slightly different variations of the same thing. He spoke of the sad crying clown and throughout many episodes. One episode he finally got it and everything's house was repossessed. Huh? I do not. Man, I do not remember that. That is dark. That's very dark. But gosh, like I remember, I think they more or less tried to like revamp like Rocco's Modern Life. They did this like Rocco's Modern Life movie, and it was just not good. Because it was more or less just like Rocko's Modern Life about Rocko's Modern Life. Like it wasn't actually like the show again. Same with like the new Muppets movie that they made. Not like the newest one they made, but when they first brought the Muppets back, and it was like Jason Segel with this like new revamping of the Muppets. Like it wasn't like a Muppet movie like any other Muppet movie, like Muppet Treasure Island or Muppets in Space or anything like that. It was literally like a movie about the Muppets making the Muppet Show and bringing the Muppet Show back. So it's like, instead of just bringing the Muppets back in a movie, they make a movie about bringing the Muppets back in like a movie. It's like, gosh, it's just bad writing and just a dumb idea. And I watched it because it's like, oh, right, I love the Muppets. I'm excited for another Muppet movie. And it was just not very good. I liked Amy Adams, but I mean, it's hard not to like Amy Adams. She's an adorable redhead. So it's hard not to like her. Cat Dog. Yeah, Cat Dog was some twisted stuff too. Cat Dog was an interesting show, though. I enjoyed Cat Dog. Cat Dog. All right, so we got like 8 minutes left here. Make sure you like the stream. And then make sure you jump over to the other channel that you're not watching on currently and like the stream. Because I have Gina's channel linked on mine, and then you should be able to find the stream on hers from there. And then I'm pretty sure she has me linked on hers as well. So, yeah. Fraggle Rock and dinosaurs. Oh, speaking of dinosaurs. I loved that show, Dinosaurs. Loved it so much. And that was one of those shows that I also watched when I was a kid that I thought I remembered so much. And there was certain things that I definitely remembered from the show. But other than like I'm the baby guy, love me. Like that's like the only line, and not the mama, yeah. That was like the only line from that show that I actually remembered. And so when I was working at an old job in a book warehouse where we would resell old books, a lot of the supplies and stuff that we get in would have DVDs and things like that too. So I found like a really nice, like pretty much mint condition copy of like all of the seasons of Dinosaurs on DVD. And I started watching through them again when I was like, oh, this is years ago now, but this was like 7 years ago. And, oh man, I enjoyed it so much and didn't realize how many of the things in that show were just going completely over my head when I was a kid. But that show Dinosaurs, like, I enjoyed it, but I had no idea of like the whole concept of the show was that was the evolutionary time where dinosaurs were tired of being the romping, stomping dinosaurs that just destroy everything and eat each other. They were trying to actually do something better with their lives and then start families and things like that. So that was more or less the first family in history is what it was supposed to be. A whole sitcom based off of that. And man, it was done so well. Even like watching it as an adult, like it's enjoyable to watch as an adult, and it's teaching relatively good lessons for your kids, teaching about family and stuff like that. Like you don't get stuff like that anymore. And yeah, the whole first episode, the pilot episode, kind of walks through it. And there's even episodes where he had like there was still certain dinosaurs that just still wanted to be the wild creatures that they are. And but yeah, so like the dad was like in a construction company. The mom was a stay-at-home mom. You had like the teenage son with like his mohawk, and you had the teenage daughter as well, where they'd have, their sibling fights. And then yeah, there's the baby that just wanted like all the attention and stuff like that. And man, it was just a really, really good show. And they did a fantastic job with it. And if I do ever have kids, my kids are going to get to watch that show because I have it on DVD. I have several seasons of Looney Tunes on DVD that my kids will be able to watch. And I got 2 seasons of Fraggle Rock as well that my kids will be able to watch. I got all the Muppet movies. Like, if I ever have kids, my kids are going to get to see the good stuff. They're not going to be spending all their time on their cell phones watching all this stupid stuff that all the kids are watching nowadays. They might get to that point eventually, but the stuff that they're going to be introduced to first is the stuff that I had in my childhood and all that. So, man, it's some good stuff. And I watched the stuff that my parents watched when I was a kid too, man. I grew up on stuff from like the early movies, 60s and 70s movies and stuff. Like good stuff. Grew up watching the real controversial cartoons, yeah. Animaniacs, yeah. But I mean though, like, and I get that, not everybody has the same family that I had. I got incredibly lucky to still have parents that are still together, 40 something years later, and have such a tight knit family with all my grandparents that stayed together and all my relatives. Like, I got incredibly lucky. And I was also raised to, want that sort of thing. And the cartoons that I watched were like family cartoons that, everybody in the family could watch. There was jokes that, people were too young to understand that the adults got. And there was a whole bunch of, funny things that happened to entertain the kids and all that stuff as well. And nowadays, like, kids are so damn jaded to where they understand all the adult jokes that are in these cartoons. And like these cartoons now as well, like they're not teaching about trying to like start a family or other things like that. And they're teaching whatever the current like woke topic is and stuff like that. And gosh, man, Blue's Clues and all this stuff, like even the shows that we watched when I was a kid, like Blue's Clues is not the same at all as it was when I was a kid. These shows are so much different now. But anyway, guys, you got 1 minute left. If you haven't liked the stream, like this one. If you haven't liked Gina's stream, like hers. If you haven't subscribed to me, why are you even here? If you haven't subscribed to Gina, why are you even here? Like, subscribe to Gina, subscribe to me, like both streams. I hope I didn't do anything that Gina would be offended by in the stream. I don't think I would. I mean, she wouldn't be my co-host if I was in there offending her and all that stuff. And I hope she's been having fun at her friend's house. Gina will be joining us next week, though. Next week is going to be an extra special episode of Fish and Friends. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you're going to find out next week. So be sure to tune in next week because we're going to be having a lot of fun. We're going to be playing some games. We're going to be doing some different things probably. So definitely tune in next week. It's going to be an extra special episode. And I hope to see y'all there because it's going to be a great one. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me. And Gina will be with us next week. And so it won't just be me sitting there boring you, talking you to death. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and say it for her since she's not here. Bye! Sorry, I'm terrible at that. Gina's just the best when she does it. But anyway, so long. Thanks for the fish.